So let's jump right into what is the very best business to start. You've probably guessed already, right, that I know which business is the best one because I know what's going on right now. And what's going on is that this industry is booming right now, folks. Why? Because you're in the healthcare field. That's almost 20% of our entire gross domestic product, 20% healthcare. So when you get in healthcare of any kind of aspect of healthcare, you are in one of the best businesses you can be in. Now let's talk about that election that's coming up next week. You know what? It's going to be here fast. It's not next week, is it? It's next week. Yeah, it's a couple of weeks. And the point is that when it does get here, either one of the two parties, of course, are probably going to be in office. Now, what does that make any difference to you as to whether it's a Democrat or Republican? It shouldn't, because the economy is going to go right on in some way or fashion. It will either boom or it will, go back into a depression, a recession. And if that's the case, folks, that's the best thing that could possibly happen. Believe me, everything that we've gone through as a company for 26 years has been growing through crisis. Yes, we had a recession, remember, back in 2008, 2009? And when that happened, our business boomed, our licensees' business boomed. Why? It's very simple, folks, because there are cash flow crises that are happening anytime there is a recession or any kind of crisis. As you can see from this headline here from the healthcare blog, this was just back in March now, right when the whole thing was starting. They had an article out on immediate changes needed for physicians to stay in business during the pandemic. And then it says, doctors working in independent practices face an immediate cash flow crisis, threatening their ability to continue services. Cash flow crisis, folks. There it is as a headline right down here. Now that means private practice physician groups experienced an unprecedented reduction in in-office visits as they move to provide a safe and secure environment for patients and staff during this, COVID thing. And in compliance with CDC guidelines, practices suspended preventive care, non-surgeon visits, non-emergent surgery, and office procedures. Well, that cut down on their cash flow. So guess what? This is the business that our licensees is in. We are in the business of helping doctors increase their cash flow and maximize their revenue. And you can't be in a better place than that, folks. It's kind of like selling popsicles out in the Sahara Desert. There's a big demand for people who can increase cash flow for any business, especially doctors. Doctors aren't very good business people anyway. Some of you who've worked for doctors probably know that. As business people, they suck. But it doesn't matter. They know how to take care of patients, and that's what they should be focused on, right? What we do for them allows them to focus on the medical practice side while we take care of the business side. Here's the guy who started NerdWallet, and that was during the 2008 crash that he started that business. He says, why now is the best time to start a business. This entire article, folks, is on that subject and goes into detail about it. I'm going to quote just a couple of things from it here. For example, one of the things he says that you have to have, or that this type of environment makes, is the availability of talent. Yeah, think about it. With so many people out of work, the startups you see that are starting up right there have a much larger talent pool to choose from. That applies to this business, folks, because you may get people, once you've done a few of the claims yourself, you might want to hire somebody to do the claims. Well, those people are out there ready to work from their home as well. And you can hire them very easily. We show you how to find those people, how to interview them, how to hire them, and yes, we help you train them. So nearly 43 million Americans have filed for unemployment benefits. That just means there's a huge workforce out there ready to help you build your business. Then, of course, remote working. Ever since this COVID thing came around, everybody's learning to work from home. And now it says, according to Salesforce, 62% of the U.S. workforce is currently working remotely. You should be doing that too. This is a perfect home business, folks. Like I said, my wife and I work from home. Most of our licensees work from home right now. Very few have actually opened up offices, only if they grew so fast they needed some room to hire employees and so forth. But the rest of them are just working from home. Why? Because the doctors don't care where you work from. If you can collect their money from those insurance companies and those government agencies, and sometimes their own patients, then you are welcome to help them with that cash flow. And again, they don't ever even talk about where's your office or can I come visit you. They don't want to. They want you to come visit them, and that's how you'll build your business. Now, here's a great quote from this. This pandemic is actually inducing a surge in employer business startups that takes us back to the days before the decline in the Great Recession. Now that's from John Howard, an economist at the University of Maryland who studies all this data. So think about that, folks. Employers' business startups. That's businesses who actually start up during this kind of recession type environment. Then look at this, applications for the employer identification numbers that entrepreneurs need to start a business have passed 3.2 million so far this year. Now, folks, that's compared with only 2.7 million at the same point last year. So what does that tell you? More businesses are starting up right now during this period of time, this year, than there was in previous years. It means, folks, it's a good sign. If you're really hesitant right now, should I start a business? Let these quotes and these articles sink in for you. Here's another one. This is from the Chamber of Commerce. You can see that up here in the right-hand corner. Despite coronavirus, it's a great time to start a business, and here's why. It goes on to say the idea of a new normal shouldn't hinder your budding business. In fact, it should give you an advantage in serving potential customers in the ways that they're now looking to be served. And with a tighter financing environment, startup entrepreneurs need to bootstrap more than ever. Consider this, for example. It says, consider choosing a low investment business to start. Now, folks, I'm quoting right from this article. I didn't write this, although this applies to our business. Is this a low investment business? Now, those of you who've looked online carefully have found out that our investment fee, our licensing fee, is $28,000. Well, it's a little less than that, $27,990, okay? But that $28,000 gets you a whole lot, as you'll see when you look at our website. Now, the point is that that may sound like a lot of money to some of you, and it is, of course, if you don't have it. But if you've been looking at businesses on the internet, especially franchises of different kinds, you know that you can spend $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, $500,000. You can spend anything you want on starting a business. Folks, ours is meant to be less than $30,000 because that's where I want people to realize that if they can come up with that kind of money, or put it on a credit card or two, or borrow it from a friend, they'll see that this is a very low risk business because we have a 100% money back guarantee. So no matter what our investment was, even if it was $500,000, you can still get your money back if you go through our training and decide that it's not for you. Then it says starting your business from home. How important is that, folks? This is one of the rare businesses I know that you can start from home and make a six-figure income. And yes, I've interviewed people on these webinars that are reaching seven-figure revenue income levels. So it's a very profitable business for that low investment of only $28,000. That gets you, by the way, all the training that we're going to talk about here a bit later, the training modules. And of course, it gets you lifetime support. It gives you access to all of our online cloud-based systems. And of course, it lets you build an unlimited size business. There's no limits to how big it can be. Then it says buy used equipment, holding virtual meetings instead of traveling, bartering with other businesses. All those things are involved in our business, folks, because virtual meetings, that's what we're doing right now. We're going to show you how to use this technology to hold meetings with doctors so you never have to go see them face to face. You can keep your job and you can start part-time. I can't tell you how many people I've interviewed, folks, that started part-time, and we taught them how to build this business. Yes, there's ways to build this outside the regular 9 to 5 hours. Then using freelancers and independent contractors. See, you don't have to hire employees. When you find that you've got too much work and you want to find somebody to help you, we're going to show you how to advertise for that out on the web. Find those people who are willing to work from their home. You can interview them using virtual technology like this. And then once you're convinced you'd like to teach them, we can train and help train those. We have videos and other training materials for you to train those people to get them up to speed. They can work on a contract basis, which means that you don't withhold taxes. You give them one little form at the end of the year that says, here's how much I paid you. Now go pay your taxes. They have to do it themselves. You can take advantage of free and low-cost marketing methods such as social media. We're going to teach you all about social media. That's one of the big things that we've ramped up here in the last year. And focusing first on the easiest and fastest paying projects. We're going to show you which doctors you should apply. You should go out and work with, the ones that are the most profitable. So folks, this article just was perfect for this webinar today, as you can see. Let's see. Oh, I see. Hello, it says Maria's here. Yes, good, thank you. All right, now folks, I'll be looking for questions. If you want to ask any questions about anything I just covered or anything about our business, you're welcome to type that in. I'll be monitoring that live today and reading those questions out live. Here's another article. You've probably heard of the Wall Street Journal, right? Is it insane to start a business during a coronavirus? Millions of Americans don't think so. The pandemic closed hundreds of thousands of businesses across the country, but now applications for new U.S. businesses are rising at the fastest rate since 2007. Why? A mix of necessity and opportunity. Remember, anytime there's a crisis in our economy, folks, or in our country, that is an opportunity for an entrepreneur like yourself to find success in some business. Ours just happens to be the perfect fitting business for this. Here's another article. It's from Startup Savant. He says, starting a business during a global crisis may be a better idea than you think. All of these things, folks, look, I'll tell you what, I'll put all these handouts over in the handouts section so that you can download these slides, go research these businesses and these articles for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. But the point is, folks, I'm pointing you to experts who are outside. They have nothing to do with American business systems. They're completely independent, and they all say the same thing. Look at this quote here. You can go right to blackbookrankings.com and find this quote. 89% of all physician practices agree that their billing and collection systems need upgrading. Now, folks, why is that? Because most doctors don't pay attention to what's going on in their billing department. Maybe they're having somebody in their own office do the billing, or maybe they're outsourcing it to another company that they found. But 89% of them say that their collection systems need upgrading, meaning they're not happy with what they have right now. And folks, we happen to have the best system that's out there, the very best. We can prove that to a doctor. We do live demos for your doctors, for your prospective clients, for you. We do those demos. We answer all their questions. We help you close the deals and get the clients. It's just an amazing system that we have set up here, folks. Could we go out and sign up all these doctors ourselves as a company? Well, theoretically, yes, but I don't want to work that hard. You see, I want people like yourself who are motivated. You're going to be making money off of these clients, right? And I want you to go out and find those clients, then let us demo and answer their questions and close those things for you so that you have as many clients as you can possibly have in as short a time. Let us do what we're good at, and you do what you're good at, which is hopefully, once we teach you how to do it, actually doing the billing for the doctors. Now, here's a book you can find out there on your bookshelves and at Amazon.com. It's by one of our partners, Dr. Vicki Rager, who you will, by the way, be partnering with as a doctor. You'll have a doctor on your team. And she says in this book that physicians in private practice throw away an average of 30% of their incomes when they do not follow up on rejected insurance claims. Outsourcing your medical billing could bring claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. Now, folks, what that means is when doctors are doing their own billing or they're outsourcing to a typical billing company, they can get up to 30% of their incomes reduced because those claims don't go through and they're never refiled, and so they just sit there and they're lost money. Well, they write them off at the end of the year, but they'd rather have that money in their bank account, I'm sure. But by outsourcing your medical billing to somebody like us, we actually have a less than 2% rejection rate on our initial claim submission. What does that mean? It means more money in the doctor's pocket. That also means more money in your pocket because you're charging a small percentage of every dollar that you collect for the doctor. And as Dr. Vicki says, this may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. Remember a while ago we talked about that article that said there's a cash flow crisis right now? Well, you can solve that for doctors. And she says it's the fastest and easiest way to do it, just by outsourcing your medical billing. So there's your quote of the day right there. Why do doctors need your help? Well, look at this chart of some of the tasks that they have to do each day. And it starts with too many bureaucratic tasks. That means they're dealing with, business type stuff. That's the biggest thing. They're spending too many hours at work. Folks, we can solve every one of these things. We take all this away from them. Feeling just like a cog in a wheel. You know, doctors begin feeling that way. What they would rather focus on is what they've been trained to do, which is take care of patients. If they could do that and didn't have to worry about the business side of their practice, they would be thrilled. Increasing computerization of the practice, electronic health records. That scares a lot of doctors. We've got that solved. We have the easiest, most friendly, user-friendly system in the world. Their income is not high enough. Well, we can certainly help there if we bring in 30% more revenue, can't we? Too many difficult patients. Well, there's not much we can do about that one, but we can deal with insurance issues, We can help them with the maintenance of their certification requirements. We're going to teach you how to do all kinds of things for doctors you'll never even thought that you could do for doctors. Once you get into this business, slowly but surely, you can add other services that build onto your business. Look at this quote. You've heard of the New England Journal of Medicine, probably. It says, Mark and the analysts estimate that 24 cents out of every dollar are wasted on administrative and billing expenses. So in a doctor's office, folks, up to 1/4 of all the money they bring in is then spent on the administrative reporting, billing, and so forth that's done behind the scenes. You can eliminate that completely. I said earlier, you make a percentage of all the doctors' dollars that you collect for the doctors. Well, that'll run in most areas anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9%, somewhere right in there. Let's say it's 7%. So you're doing all this billing and administrative reporting for the doctor for 7%, not 24 cents, but only 7% of the dollars that you bring in for the doctor. That's how you save the doctor money, and you bring in more money. So of course you're bringing in even more. Oh, I could just go on and on, folks. I know this is boring, but look at all these different articles that bolster the case for outsourcing your billing. It says the greater economic pressure on a practice, the more viable outsourcing becomes. See, they don't want to do this in their own office. They don't want to maintain their own software and their computers and so forth. They want to outsource it to someone like yourself. Outsourcing billing processes should ultimately reduce the cost of collections and maximize their revenue, allowing a practice to invest in clinical resources and get better quality results. So these experts here are saying exactly what I said earlier, right? We want to maximize the revenue for doctors. Then I talked earlier about the high rate of denied claims. The Government Accountability Office says private health insurance data on application and coverage denials, they reviewed, identified as collecting data, indicated that variation in application denial rates across insurers has occurred for several years, with rates ranging from about 6% to over 30% in each of 3 years. So there's your quote, that there are doctors who are having rejection rates over 30%. Remember, ours is less than 2% nationwide. And then here's another quote that says the same thing. It's not unusual to have a 35% or higher claim rejection rate. That's just another quote. Again, you can get all these quotes if you download the slides that I'm going to put over there here in just a second. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I will before we end. Here's another quote, real simple, from the American Academy of Professional Coders. Industry experts have found that the average number of rejected claims for a medical practice averages around 34%. So again, folks, it's 30, 34, 35%, somewhere right in there. It depends on what experts you're listening to, but it's high for most systems. And then there's the money that they try to collect from their denied claims. Once those claims are denied, can you go back and try to figure out what's wrong? Yes, you can, but most doctors don't take the time to do that. Most of them would just stick them in a drawer and write them off at the end of the year as a tax write-off. So this one says, on average, 50% of denied claims are never resubmitted. So half of those rejected claims never get submitted. Folks, we happen to be the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers in the United States. That's right, we have more people out doing these types of things for doctors than any other company or organization in the world. That's why we have the experience, the background, the know-how to help you start a business during a crisis like this. We teach you how to do practice analysis, for example. That's right, we don't go in and sell anything to a doctor. In fact, doctors don't like that at all. What we teach you to do is ask them a series of questions that we've come up with that actually tells you whether or not they even need your services. And if they do, to what extent you could help them. All that's put into a system back at your office, into our software, and it can produce a report that looks something like this. Now, I know this is kind of small to look at here, but notice this bottom line. Can you see this $122,424? This is a report that you could be giving to a typical doctor based on the numbers they give you. And bottom line is you can actually bring in more revenue for this doctor than they ever could imagine. So they actually can increase their revenue here by what, $10,000 a month. Yeah. Now, those are the kinds of things that do all the selling for you, folks. If you're wondering how you get clients, you educate the doctors. That's all. Just educate them using the materials and the things that we've come up with over the years. I told you earlier that we do demos for the doctors. Well, you can actually do some demos on your own. If you have an iPad, for example, we'll show you how to demo our system. You can use some of our slides like we've got here today that we're showing you to show the doctors either on the iPad or even on a little flip chart that we have for those of you who are not technically advanced right now. We can teach you how to do all of this step by step, folks. You will become the expert and they will begin to respect you. I told you about those demos that we do for you, for your doctors. All you do is contact a doctor, tell them a little bit about our system. When you ask them if they'd like to see a demo of it, just set it up. We have an online system for arranging for these demos, and our people who are trained to answer all their questions will do the demo for you. The doctors want to see the system that you'll be using and that they'll have access to as well. I told you earlier about Dr. Vicki Rager. Folks, you can't imagine what it's like to have a doctor as a partner in business. Well, that's what we've done for our licensees. Dr. Vicki has agreed to partner with each one of our licensees as they come through our training. She's a famous retired surgeon who's written many, many books you see there on the left side. And she's been interviewed by many of the radio and television stations and magazines that you see on the right side there. She speaks with doctor groups all over the United States, and she's doing a lot of virtual meetings right now with some of those doctors. But the point is, she is a very well-known doctor that has written a book that, as you see it right here, we showed it earlier, The New Thriving Medical Practice. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. Uh-oh, I clicked on something that I shouldn't have. So now we've got to go back and stop showing and get back to our slides. I don't know where they went. Okay, I know what happened there. All right, let me get back to it. Okay, here's the picture of Dr. Vicki with two of the books actually that we've written. And the one on the left there, The New Thriving Medical Practice, it says in the subtitle, how to get off the hamster wheel, work smarter, not harder, generate more revenue, and enjoy greater satisfaction in the era of the Affordable Care Act. So folks, this is the type of thing that doctors want to read. And guess what? You can actually have your name printed on the cover of the book. One of the things we do for you is to position you as the expert. Well, no better way to do that but to make you an author of a book. Now, you really didn't write the book, of course. You just written a foreword, which we've actually gotten written that you can use if you want to, or you can write your own. And it's great because you now become the authority. Your name's in the front cover of the book right there below mine and Dr. Vicki Rager's. And at the end of the foreword, you can put your name, your company name, your phone number, your email address, your website. Everything is just right there. So it makes for a wonderful handout to leave behind for a doctor. We'll teach you exactly how to use this book. We teach you how to mark it up so that it actually looks like this. When you give it to the doctor, you put the little sticky tabs that you see there on there, and inside each one of those pages is a highlighted, section of the book. So what we've done here is we've actually given you the ability to show the doctor only the things that you want them to look at immediately, at least. And they're very pleased when they see that you've got some things highlighted that they don't have to read the whole book. They will, some of them will. But some of them will just browse through, read your highlighted things there that apply to them and go, huh, maybe I should talk to this person. They seem like they know what they're talking about here. Okay, so let's talk about our system just for a second. The ideal thing, the typical billing scenario that's out there, folks, kind of looks like this. You have some software that you've bought from somebody or downloaded, and you put it on your computer. Now, the first step there is a very dangerous step. You know why, don't you? Anybody know why? Why would it be horrible to put your software and your patient data on your hard drive in your office or in your home? Here we go. We got some people typing in some things. Well, it could be stolen. One says, well, the house could burn down and you've lost it. Yeah, anything that goes wrong with your computer, of course, you've also lost all the data. And so that's very important that you realize that's not the way we work at all. Then typically, using that software, you're actually sending that data directly to what's called a clearinghouse. Now, a clearinghouse is a third-party company. There's about a dozen of them out there that you'd have to pick from if you had to pick one. With our system, you don't. But anyway, most companies, you would have to pick the software and the clearinghouse. Then the clearinghouse takes those claims and actually clears them through their system. makes sure they're formatted correctly, and sends them on to the insurance companies that are out there that will then pay the doctor. Our system is a little different. You notice that the clearinghouse there is illustrated, just an illustration, by the way. It's not really inside there, but we're illustrating that it's inside our system because it is. It's built in. We are the clearinghouse. Folks, this is why our rejection rate is less than 2%, because we're in charge. We're not giving it to a third party. So they can, claim that they lost it, or, that it's all your fault. We do the clearing ourselves. And then, of course, that's sent directly to the insurance companies. We're not going through a third external clearinghouse of any kind. We go direct. This is why we have less than 2% rejected claims, and those reimbursements from the insurance companies are paid to the doctor in 7 to 10 days. Now, I know you find this hard to believe, but I interviewed a licensee the other day that said that they sent it off on Monday to the insurance company, and the money was in the doctor's bank account by Friday. So ours is a very quick system. The doctors love that fast turnaround, folks. That's what they're looking for. Our system, by the way, is totally integrated. Not only do we have the practice management system, which is what does the billing, you have access to that. You can give the doctor and their staff access to it because it has a scheduler built into it, for example. Then we have the clearinghouse built in that does all this claim scrubbing and submissions for us behind the scenes. Remember, it's built into ours. And of course, we have the electronic medical records that the doctors can use when they're seeing the patients. Wait till you see our electronic medical records demonstrated to you. We'll do a demonstration just for you. If you want to see this live, you just get back with your rep who sent you the email to this webinar, and they'll send you that demo link where you can go and watch that and ask all the questions you want about our system. You'll also see the patient portal, which is one of the best that's out there, folks, that you've probably used one yourself already. If not, you store all of your data out there, including all of your information about your medicines, your appointments, all the tests that have been run, all the visits with the doctor, all the notes between you and the doctor. It's a great system. Ours is totally integrated, not written by separate companies and then plugged together some way through software. This is all written by the same programmers in the same little room where we throw them pizza and Pepsi every once in a while. There's a picture of them right there, I guess. Okay, folks, we also have many other ancillary services that you can offer to doctors. Now, how did we come up with these? Well, some of our licensees were going out talking to doctors, and the doctor might have said, hey, have you got a way for helping me to comply, with HIPAA? Well, yes, so we came up with Compliancy Guard. Others have problems with coding, even though all the codes are built into our system. Some of them would like some real help from real certified coders. Well, we just happened to come up with one called CodeWrite that lets the doctor interface with real live medical coders. All of these services, of course, are for the doctor. The doctor pays for these. These are ancillary services as they want them, as they need them, and if they think they'll benefit them. And of course, you make money on all of these services, even though they're provided by other of our partners. Anyway, that's how we came up with all these, and you'll have access to all of them. They're all included in your license fee. There's nothing extra you buy from us. Once you've paid our license fee, that's it. Here's the coding and audit support from CodeWrite. Like I said, our certified professional coders do everything for you. Your doctor is basically provided with detailed reports on the codes needed for maximum reimbursement. You see, a doctor could use one code for an ailment, let's say a sore throat, and that code would not pay as much as another code. Our doctors want to get paid what they're due, right? So going through certified coders, we can make sure that they're getting the right codes and increasing their revenue that way. Here's the Audit Guard that I mentioned earlier. It will review the doctor's charts and identify possible coding errors. And any doctor that sees Medicare patients is under the microscope, of course, from Medicare. They can pop in anytime they want to and do an audit. Then there's Quick Collect. Quick Collect can replace the doctor's need for a collection agency. That's right. We don't go after patients' money with collection agencies. We use our built-in Quick Collect system that's cloud-based, that manages the receivables. And this is often the most difficult and the last item on their to-do list, right, at a doctor's office. They don't want to call up little Mrs. Jones and say, hey, you owe us $20, where's that payment? So we eliminate that and completely take that out of their hands. You don't do any calling. You don't do any mailing. This is all online systems that we use for this, folks. Wait till you see it. Then there's Choice Pay. We give doctors, when there's higher deductibles, for example, we give patients ways to pay out what they do owe the doctor. And some people, of course, don't don't have insurance, so their patients out-of-pocket payments. We can help them with those payments so they don't have to pay, the whole $300 or $400 up front. We let them pay that out. And then there's document management. Here's our iDocs Now system. Medical offices are using more space due to the requirements of storing medical documents for a minimum of 7 years. That's right. Every document that goes to a doctor's office has to be saved for 7 years. That's why you see all those big file cabinets like the ones illustrated there on that flyer back there behind the doctor. Well, with our system, you can scan, search, and retrieve medical documents from our web-based HIPAA-compliant document management system. This is way more than Dropbox or any other storage device or iCloud. You can actually search the words in every document in our system and retrieve those documents knowing that you're HIPAA compliant. That is, all those documents are safe in our system. I mentioned Compliancy Guard earlier, folks. I could go on and on with all these services, folks. We don't have time in today's webinar to cover everything. We're already past halfway through the webinar. So I'm going to move right on here and talk about what kind of support do you get after you've gone through our training. Now, again, I'll talk a little bit more about the training itself as I get to the sales pitch here towards the end, okay? But this is the webinar, what we call our licensee support site, or LSS for short. The ABS LSS is a site where we've been posting things since 2014. So there's over almost 7 years of data stored out here, training videos, other modules of training, handouts, flyers, agreements, PowerPoints. Folks, we got a ton of materials out there. You'll have access to all of that forever. That's right. Again, we have a one-time licensing fee of $28,000. After that, you don't pay a dime for any of these ongoing things that are out there. And we do training on a regular basis. Every other week or so, we're doing a training for our licensees. Again, there's no charge for that ever. That's all included. Here's some of them that we've done in the past. As you can see, we store all of these out there so that you can go back and watch them anytime you want to. So there's literally a wealth of information for you as you go through our training, and as you learn more about our business, you'll want to dig a little deeper into some of these things. Hey, I told you earlier that we do live demos for your doctors. Did I tell you that we do one for you? That's right. Just get back with your ABS rep, the person who invited you to this webinar, and say, hey, I'd like to see the live demo. Show me what you're going to show my doctors. And we will. We'll get on the line with you 30, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever you want to take to go through our system, let you ask all the questions you want and satisfy your need to know what's in our software. Because folks, it is that easy to use that in this little 30-minute demo that we give you, you'll say, oh, I get it. This is not the hard part of the business. Now, I mentioned earlier, folks, that we're the only medical billing training company that has a money-back guarantee. 100% of your money is returned if you go through our training within the first 30 days and don't like what you see. Now, folks, the reason we do that is because we feel like after you've gone through our training and seen all the proprietary information that we offer about every aspect of our business, you'll know whether this is something you want to pursue or not. If it's not, ask for your money back. We don't want your money up front. What we want is not only the training fee that you give us up front, but the money that you can make us as a company on the back end. Remember all those ancillary services? We make a few pennies on all of those transactions that go through that as well. The doctors are paying for those, remember, so you're not giving us any more money, but we do have a little piece of those payments that go through for those services. And that's how we have unlimited ongoing support for life for our licensees. We don't have any ongoing costs like that, and we make money on those services. One of the things that you may not have seen, if you haven't asked for it from your ABS rep, is our Medical Revenue Management Research Guide. That's something I'll talk about here in just a second, and some of the steps that you need to go through to actually get finalized as an ABS licensee. And this is a 50-page guide that has more information that you'll ever find on our website, because we want to put it in your hands as somebody who is a prospective licensee and has shown us that you're interested in actually starting your own business. Okay, so let's talk about those steps here. I have them right here on the screen. Well, I'll put one up there. The first one is to get that research guide. Now, how do you get it? Well, you ask your business development rep, that's what we call these guys back here at the office, that will help you step through all of this. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you don't know who that person is, go back and see if you can find the email where they invited you to come to this webinar. If you can't find that, There's our toll-free number right there on the screen, 866-565-8413. Go and call that number right now or at the end of this webinar and just say, who is my rep? Who's my rep there at ABS? And we'll give you the name and email address and phone number of that person. Then take time to browse our YouTube channel. I showed it to you just a moment ago, some of the videos that are on there. You'll find over 100 interviews with licensees who've been through our training, started their business, and are willing to share with you how they got as successful as they are today. There it is. It's youtube.com/whyabs. Just go type that in and you'll be right there at our channel and can go through some of those videos. Then the next thing you need to do is ask your rep for the current owner reference list. I mentioned that earlier. We have licensees from coast to coast who've been so successful at this and so thrilled with what we help them, get into, that they're willing to share their success story with you one-on-one, again, by calling them direct or emailing them. And we have all that on a list that your rep can get to you as well. Then ask for a live demo. Go back to your rep and say, look, Patrick said I could get a live demo of your platform. I want to see all your software. Show it to me. We'll set that up at a time that's convenient for you, and we'll go through that step by step and answer all your questions. Folks, our software doesn't come on a disk. I know you find this hard to believe, but there are still companies out there who are putting their software on a disk, that goes into your computer. And that software then is connected to your doctor's computer. They put the software on that. Then they use a third piece of software that pieces the two together, and it's a nightmare. I'm talking about other companies that do something similar to what we do. We're the only cloud-based system company that's out there teaching people how to get into their own medical billing business that's cloud-based. That's important for you to know. There are other cloud-based software systems out there, but they don't teach you how to do medical billing or how to get clients. They're just selling software. That's the difference, folks. We're not selling you software. We're selling you the opportunity, the business opportunity to go out and build your own business. Now, you have to have software to do that, so we do give you access to ours, but that's lifetime access. Once you've paid that fee, you always have access to it. Then, of course, the last step, of course, is to review the purchase agreement and the funding instructions. And that means to get your training set up with your, ABS rep. Tell them, I want to actually do some training. And that's one of the things that we did here, basically, is show you a little bit about the training. What I'm going to do is show you a picture of it first. Here it is. This is kind of what it looks like. If you were sitting at your desk, you'd be learning from us online, watching the slides here on your screen, and talking and interfacing with your instructor. Now, our instructors, folks, are very unique individuals. You'll have a one-on-one training, all 8 modules, with a certified medical revenue instructor. Now, folks, that means they've gone through our training and they've actually trained for us for a minimum of 2 years. That's right. We won't let them do any online virtual training until they've taught for us for 2 years. And we've got people who are ready to teach you exactly what they did, because they've been running their own medical billing business for 5 years at least. That's right. We want them to have 5 years experience, prove to us that you know how to build this business. And once you do, we might hire you to do the training for our new licensees. That's what we've done, folks. And we pay those people well, because it's very valuable for you to learn from somebody who's actually out there in the business, on the streets, doing it, not just out of a textbook, right? Now, I mentioned 8 modules. Those modules could grow in the future. We're going to add some more probably, but for now it's 60 to 90 minutes is what each one of those sessions runs you. And that depends on how many questions you ask, because remember, it's just you and the medical revenue instructor. So you get to ask all the questions you want. It's not like you're in a classroom and you got to listen to other people's questions that might not apply to what you're interested in. Then at the end of each one of those sessions, you'll have some homework assignments. Now, these are not graded. You don't have to turn them in. This is just for you to get a deeper dive into that topic that you covered in that particular module. So the homework assignments are other videos that you'll be watching after hours between your live training sessions with us. and things that you can read and research out on your own on our licensee support website. You can also have one additional attendee at any of these trainings. Since they're done virtually, we can send an invitation to you, which you then could send to a partner or a spouse or someone else that you want to attend these training sessions, and they can be on there as well at the same time from their home. They don't have to be in the same location you are when you go through the training, because they can just do it on their own computer. And of course, we allow for unlimited questions, as I said earlier, and we give you lifetime support after this initial training. Now, you're also given a lot of new marketing materials. Some of the books that I showed you earlier, you'll have as marketing tools. We've got postcards and flyers, things that are included, again, in your package of materials that you'll get from us when you sign up. And of course, you'll have access to the private licensee website that I mentioned earlier for life. For as long as you're an ABS licensee, you are continuing to have access to that support site as well. There's over 100 hours of additional learning modules. And of course, there's dozens of forms, agreements. Oh, I misspelled that, agreements. Look at that. Handouts and marketing materials. So just remember, folks, we are going to completely train you from scratch, no matter what your background is, no matter how little or much you know about this industry. We're going to show you how to do it the right way.